Welcome to this edition of Like Nobody's Business. I'm Mary Beth Seawald, President and CEO of the Vegas Chamber. February is National Black History Month, and it is always a great time to celebrate the Black-owned businesses at the Vegas Chamber, but also throughout our entire community. So today we are thrilled to be talking with Lighthouse of Restoration Organization. They are a local nonprofit that is making a difference in the lives of single mothers, grandchildren, and children alike. So here to talk with us about the Lighthouse of Restoration Organization is the one and only, the founder. She's also a chamber member, Mysheka Ross. Welcome to the show, Mysheka.
Thank you.
Well, we appreciate everything you do. I've been reading up a little bit on your organization. So go ahead and just tell us a little bit about the Lighthouse of Restoration and what is your mission?
Lighthouse of Restoration Organization assists single moms and grandparents that are raising their grandchildren that are low-income families. The thought came about in 2003. And in 2003, I was in the middle of my own trials and struggles, and I was in the middle of a divorce. And I thought about, how can I help another single mom? I'm not going to be the first nor the last I'm not going to be the first nor the last divorced woman. How can I help somebody else? And Mary Beth, at that time, I was just venting and crying and writing, not knowing in 2011, the Lighthouse of Restoration Organization would actually manifest. And I remember during that time, it was about 2010-ish, I was taking a class at the community college in Victorville. And one of the professors that I had, she said, you can do all the homework and pass all the tests, but if you do not create a business plan for my class, you don't pass the class. So she said, make up a business, or either you have a business. And I thought about all these things that I jotted down in 2003 and created this business plan. And in 2011, a year after that, the Lighthouse of Restoration Organization manifested. And when I tell you, it has been a rewarding opportunity, job, business. I love seeing the faces of the kids when they get a new backpack or when they get a gift card for a new pair of shoes. And the organization has been running for 10 years. I started an office here a year and a half ago. I said, you know what? I need to get plugged in. I joined the Vegas Chamber and I've made some great connections. And it has just been wonderful. The networking opportunities that I've had through the chamber. I actually met a Vegas Chamber member a few weeks ago, and I was in the middle of moving this past week. I reached out to that Vegas Chamber member. I called her business. She set up a move. Mary Beth, you know how moving can be. When I tell you that Kristen with junk luggers, they lifted the weight because we were running on fumes moving. And her and her business and her team, they came through, and I called the same day. She squeezed us in, and it was like, thank you. So it's been opportunities like that I've had with being a part of the chamber members. So chamber committees, the chamber so far. And I'm sorry, I'm just excited about talking about it because when I joined the chamber, I said, oh, okay, this is where everybody is with the chamber and making those connections. And instead of trying to figure it out for myself. So I would tell anybody, join the chamber, get involved. There are some awesome people. Lita, Art, they have been really, really helpful. And I am so thankful. So let me stop and let you go ahead.
Well, Mysheka, thank you so much for that great testimonial, not only for the chamber, but for your friends at Junk Luggers.
Yes.
Wonderful. But, that's how it is. It's a community. We all want to help each other just the way you're helping, folks through your organization. So tell us a little bit about the Lighthouse of Restoration and exactly what it is you do for women and children and grandchildren and so forth.
With the Lighthouse Restoration Organization, our goal is to help moms get back up on their feet. A lot of times the moms may have a part-time job and they're barely making ends meet, or a full-time job, and after they pay the bills, there's really not a whole lot left. So our goal is to help those moms get back on their feet, connecting with other resources that we do not provide for it to provide those wraparound services. And a lot of times the single moms, they just may need help with backpacks and school supplies. And after that, they're fine just to get over the hump. So any donations that come in, we assist with backpacks, school supplies, Christmas toys for children, bus passes. Thank you. I want to give a shout out to RTC. They recently provided us a grant that helps with bus passes for our single moms getting back and forth to work, school, doctor's appointments. We provide personal hygienes, diapers, wipes. Those are the things that we assist with the donations. And any service that we do not provide, we put the resident or the client in contact with an agency that does, instead of just sending them on their way without the proper wraparound services. So if they're looking for a job and we have a job resource or connection, we put them in contact with that agency to help them get up on their feet so they can keep moving forward, so they don't need the services anymore. So if they need it down the road, that's fine. But the overall goal is to empower these women, help these women and children, get them back on straight street so they can be on their way.
That's amazing. What a gratifying experience it must be for you. And I know that you all have the slogan, meaningful help, unforgettable experiences. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what that means?
Those type of experiences, I would have to say, I remember this one time, it was at a back to school event, annual back to school event for the Lighthouse Restoration Organization. A little girl came with her mom. She did not get a backpack. Do you know, Mary Beth, she came up to me, she tapped me, and she said, I didn't get a backpack, but thank you for what you're doing. And it just caught me so off guard. I was like, wow, how cool is that? She had to be maybe about no more than 7 years old. So it's those type of experiences to keep moving forward. Those, the experiences where you have a family and you're providing Christmas gifts for their kids. And they come up afterwards and say, you know what, thank you, because this is all that my children were getting for this Christmas. It's just a thankful moment. I tell any client that I work with, it's always a win-win. It's never a one-way street. It's always a two-way street. I've had clients that come in and say something, Mary Beth, to lift me up, and they didn't even know that I was feeling down. So it's a win-win. And I feel like we're all lighthouses in some way, some form, some fashion. We've listened to someone, we've helped someone, we've given somebody advice, somebody has cried on our shoulder. We've all received encouragement from someone. So we've all been a lighthouse in some way.
That is so true. And I love your stories. I just got goosebumps when you were telling me about that little girl. It made me want to run over and give her a hug and get her a backpack.
Right.
But those kinds of things are so meaningful in life. And, it makes me want to get involved personally. And I'm sure our viewers would like to too. And the thing that you need most right now, would it be donations or supplies or money or just people to help?
All of those are welcomed. All of those are great. Right now, as you know, it's at the beginning of the year, and a lot of businesses are trying to figure out how to allocate and who they're giving to throughout this year. And we're gearing up for our back to school event, where we provide backpacks and school supplies for children. So if you are looking for an agency or an organization to give to, please keep the Lighthouse Restoration Organization in mind, because this is the time that we seek donations for our back to school event to gear up so we can be prepared for the upcoming school year for the children.
Well, excellent, Mysheka. I just can't tell you how wonderful it is to hear your story and to learn more about your organization and what you do for our community. I just can't thank you enough. I'm so impressed with you. And thank you so much for being such an awesome member of the Vegas Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it, and I appreciate the chamber.
Well, once again, Mysheka Ross, the Lighthouse of Restoration. Thank you so much. All right, coming up next on Like Nobody's Business, we'll talk with Ken Evans. He's the president and CEO of the Urban Chamber. Stay with us.
As humans, we're visual creatures. In fact, American adults spend nearly 6 hours each day watching video, and we're evolving and expanding across screens. Whether we're surfing the web at work, streaming our favorite show in a waiting room, or watching the game live at home, Cox Media's digital video solutions can deliver your business's message to consumers in a way that creates a meaningful connection and drives them to take action. Grow your business. Call Cox Media today.
Welcome back to Like Nobody's Business.
Welcome back to this edition of Like Nobody's Business. I'm Mary Beth Seawald. As we celebrate Black History Month, we also recognize that there is racial disparity in our community. In 2020, the Vegas Chamber partnered with the Urban Chamber and the Las Vegas Global Economic Alliance to hold a series of conversations about creating equitable communities, especially through economic opportunity and supporting business ownership. So here today, I am very honored and proud to have him as a guest on our show today to share his perspective. He's the president and CEO, and he's also a great friend of mine, the Urban Chamber, Mr. Ken Evans. Hey, Ken.
Hey, Mary Beth. Thank you very much. Glad to join you here today. As always, appreciate the opportunity to collaborate with yourself and the Vegas Chamber in endeavors like this. So thanks again.
Well, likewise, Ken, you know, as CEO of the Urban Chamber, you and I have had a great opportunity to collaborate together on the things I was just talking about, a lot of other things. But, you know, I'd like to circle back to the issue at hand. You know, what are some of the challenges that Black small business owners face today?
I'll hit on two of them very quickly that are at the top of my list right now in terms of addressing. Number one is access to capital, in particular, affordable capital. Now, granted, that's a challenge for any entrepreneur or business owner, but if you look at the statistics, disproportionately, Black business owners and entrepreneurs have even more of a challenge getting access to capital. And those statistics show that there is a disparity. So first and foremost is addressing the access to capital issue. Our small business development system, we need to make sure that it is both professionally competent as well as culturally competent, and sometimes that's a challenge.
Yeah, definitely. And how does the Urban Chamber go about helping Black entrepreneurs?
Advocacy, education, and positioning our businesses for procurement opportunities. And it's an ongoing thing that we do through our Business Success Center, which has two components. We're pretty blessed because we have our own building. And in addition to that, we also have a business resource network. So between those two components and overall our Business Success Center, we do our part in terms of providing education, advocacy, and positioning our businesses for procurement opportunities.
What would you say are some other ways that either our two chambers or other organizations, what are ways that we could all work together to create a more equitable community?
I think a couple of things come to mind. First and foremost, I would encourage everyone to take a look at the Kerner Commission report. One of the things I really appreciated is that in your case, you actually took that report, you reviewed it, you saw some of the salient points that still needed to be addressed, and you voiced that, which I really appreciated. And I'm going to tease you a minute here. I know part of that has to do with your journalistic background, so that really came in handy because I could tell you went through the report and found, like I said, some key things that we still need to address. So first and foremost, I would encourage people, take a look at the Kerner Commission report. But beyond that, one of the things I sought to do was to bring the questions that came up in the Kerner Commission report, make them relevant to our community here in Southern Nevada, And so I asked questions about the policy development, procurement opportunities, economic development agenda, and the things we need to do to make sure that Black businesses can participate in all those things at all phases.
Well, Ken, thank you so much for everything you do for our community, everything you do for your members at the Urban Chamber. And I really appreciate you being a friend to me and to all of us at the Vegas Chamber, and for everything you do throughout Southern Nevada.
And Mary Beth, definitely the feeling is mutual. And what I look forward to is re-engaging and continuing the effort to create an equitable community where at the end of the day, all segments of our population feel like they can participate in commerce. Thank you again.
Absolutely, Ken. Thank you so much for all you do. Thank you for sharing your expertise and for your great leadership. And we really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks, Mary Beth.
All right, next up, learn about a Vegas Chamber member that is helping to make healthcare more affordable. We'll be right back.
Remember Old Vegas where the customer was king? The Casablanca in Mesquite is just like Vegas used to be. Play over 40 of your favorite table games.
Play over 800 slot and video poker machines and get comps, free play, and cash back.
Get away and play 2 18-hole championship golf courses, or pamper yourself in our full-service salon and unwind in our world-class spa. Now this is my kind of getaway. Reserve your $99 golf or spa getaway today. It's just like Vegas used to be.
Welcome back to Like Nobody's Business.
Welcome to this edition of Like Nobody's Business. I'm Mary Beth Sewald, President and CEO of the Vegas Chamber. Today, we are so excited because we're featuring one of our Vegas Chamber members, Soul Sisters, which is an affiliate of Sedera, which is a health cost-sharing company. Here with us today to discuss Soul Sisters are co-owners Marianne Leone Lambert and Brandy Darnell. Welcome, you guys.
Thank you. Good morning. It's nice to be here.
Oh, well, thank you so much for being with us. I love the name Soul Sisters. Tell us about your company. And it's very special. It's not the typical SOUL, soul, right?
Right. That's correct. Yes, we are SOLE, Soul Sisters. And I'll just tell you a little bit about how we got our name. So we traveled to Uganda in 2019, and we served with a few different organizations. One of them being
Soul Hope.
Soul Hope, where they remove sand fleas from the soles of people's feet, which are very debilitating to the people there. So we were able to volunteer and serve there. And while we were there, they started calling us the Soul Sisters. So that name sort of stuck. And when we started our business, we decided that we would continue being the Soul Sisters because it has a great memory and history for us. And it has to do with serving and helping people, which is what we feel our company does also.
What an amazing story. I got chills when you said that, how you got your name and that they just started naturally calling you that. I think that's a mission that is so meaningful, especially in this day and age. So tell us a little bit about your area of expertise and, what is Sedera? I know it's a medical cost sharing company. So how does that work?
Sedera is a medical cost sharing company. It is an alternative to traditional insurance, and we have a passion for what they stand for. It is basically medical cost sharing is a community of people, like-minded people that join together. They all pay into one big pot, and then Sedera pulls money out of that pot and sends it to whatever member is in need at the time. So it's getting back to the way that it used to be, and we feel the way it should be, where insurance is removed from the equation. People are joining together. They have freedom in their choice of providers. There's no network. There's people that are working together to help each other pay for large medical expenses.
Well, and I would think that another advantage would be that it's a lot more affordable, right? Doing it that way?
It's definitely more affordable. They say on an average, people save between 30 and 60% of what they would be spending on insurance if you're a member. That's true for whether you're an individual or for businesses, for business owners also.
Okay, so you can join as an individual or as a business.
Correct.
Yes. which is part of why we are so excited to be a part of the Vegas Chamber, because there are so many small businesses, but we've also had the honor of meeting so many entrepreneurs, individual people that are starting their own business, individuals that have families, and Sedera has 2 tracks, I guess you can describe it as: Access Plus for individuals and families, Select Plus for small businesses.
Wow. And you mentioned small businesses, and that's something, like you said, that the Vegas Chamber really focuses on. How would they go about utilizing the Sedera medical cost sharing for their employees? If you could kind of walk us through how that works so they know exactly what they need to do.
Like we said, it's 2 separate tracks. The small business part of it, they would work directly with us. That's one of the benefits of Sedera. And that is one thing that we love is Sedera, we feel like, is a family. There is a telephone at the person's desk in Texas. They call, you get a real person. With us being your affiliates, you get our cell phone numbers. So you contact a real person. You don't get transferred and set on hold. So we walk you through, as the business owner, the process of enrolling your employees. And it is a little more of a process with businesses because there are such a diverse amount of pathways that you can take. We can cater everything to your direct business. There's a lot of detail we could go into, but if you connect with us, we sit down with you, whether it's via Zoom or in person. We talk to you about your employees. We initially fill out paperwork. We have somebody at Sedera contact you, set up a banking. How would you describe that?
It's like a bank account for that small business that the money gets put into, and then that money gets pulled out of that bank account into the bigger Sedera pot. And there are several different needs depending on the business and the owner and what they can afford. So I personally owned a small business with my husband, and we really wanted to provide benefits for our employees, and we just felt like medical insurance, it was just sort of out of reach for us to do financially. But Sedera provided a way that we could offer something to our employees that was affordable to us, that was a great gift to them too. So, and we realized Sedera isn't for everybody, but for people who understand it and are willing to take the leap to do something different, we just think it is a huge benefit.
Okay. So we walk you through the process, and it's fairly simple.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And usually if we get everything done by the 15th or 20th, we can start you on the 1st of the next month.
Wow. So you guys really act as consultants, and you really value customer service. And so anyone who would connect with the 2 of you could feel very confident, number one, because you are in the system yourselves and you understand firsthand the value and the benefits of Sedera and this approach to medical cost sharing.
Absolutely. And that's what we love so much about it. We flew down to Texas and worked with the owner, the founder, and his team, and we fell in love with them. And they pride themselves on great customer service, lower costs. It's working one-on-one with people. And that is why we won't be insurance agents and we won't venture out, because we do follow our hearts and we have a heart for Sedera.
Oh, wow. What a great approach to customer service. Is there a story that you have of an individual, and maybe it's yourselves, who were, in a situation where they just couldn't afford health insurance traditionally, but you were able to provide them this pathway that gives such a unique benefit?
Well, one story that's actually kind of close to my heart is, we have lots of stories of businesses that could not afford traditional insurance. There's also a lot of businesses that have taken a leap, that have stepped away from traditional insurance. My aunt and uncle own a construction company, which is very important that they offer insurance. And they had been with traditional insurance for years, and they really wanted to step out when they learned more about Sedera and what they stand on, and they took a leap. We switched them over. Shortly after they joined, my aunt she's actually a avid water skier, and she had some major problems. They thought she had MS. She was transferred around to different hospitals. She had thousands of dollars worth of tests done. And she called me and she said, oh my goodness, I paid my $500 IUA, which is comparable to a deductible. And she said, Sedera stepped in and they shared and everything else. And she said, they answered the phone every time I called. They took care of me. She said, I have never been treated with traditional insurance the way I was with Sedera. So for us, I mean, for me, it felt good personally because my aunt was being taken care of, but it also felt like a blessing from a professional standpoint because we're able to see with our own eyes in big situations how Sedera does care about their members.
Well, congratulations, you guys. What else am I missing in asking the questions? Is there anything else that you would want our viewers to know about Sedera and about, other competitive advantages over any other form of insurance?
Well, I think it's a little bit important to know a little bit about how medical cost sharing works or why it's different. But I'm the older sister, so I'm going to let the younger sister speak because I can be bossy like that.
I think the biggest thing for us that we love so much about it is that it puts the decisions back into the hands of the patient. Like they don't have to get on a computer and see whether or not their doctor that they want to see falls in the network. It's freedom for them to choose. It is putting on them, decisions where they need to be wise and they need to be ethical, but it's also giving them the freedom to connect with the doctor that they are closest to. And when people connect with doctors, when they get to go to who they choose and who they want to, they're going to take better care of themselves because they're connected with somebody and they feel cared about. And Sedera is all about partnering with you so that you can be the voice of your own healthcare.
And it probably means there's a little more responsibility on the individual instead of just expecting insurance to take care of everything. I get to make more personal choices and I do take on more responsibility for my healthcare, which we also think is super important for people.
I would have to agree with you, especially in this day and age. So Marion and Brandy, thank you guys so much for being part of the chamber and for sharing this valuable information with us and our members. And if anybody is interested in learning more about Soul Sisters and the medical cost sharing option that they offer, they can contact you guys, right, at soulsisters.net, and that's SOLE sisters.net, correct?
That's correct.
Yep.
All right, you guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I'm Mary Beth Seawald with the Vegas Chamber.
In 110 and the fire's just starting to burn. There ain't no keeping us down.